back for another episode of Adams for the Love of Movie Picks. This time around, we're going to be talking about the 2013 film, The Butler. Before I get into the stars and what's it about and everything, I just want to say I saw the trailer for this movie when watching Fruitvale Station. Either I'd never heard of this movie before, or when it first came out, I didn't pay much attention to it. But the trailer in the Fruitvale Station movie really caught my attention, so I thought I'd give it a watch. And I gotta say, folks, I was not disappointed. So I just want to say, going into this, I knew it was it's based on a true story or inspired by a true story. I didn't really catch on till the very end of the credits that it was, it was based on a real guy, but the name they used in it wasn't his actual name. So, Forrest Whitaker plays the main character, Cecil Gaines, in this movie, now, they did get some facts right. So, both Cecil and the real guy that this movie is based on, Eugene Allen, worked in the White House for approximately 34 years, serving as a butler and then eventually as head butler. But yeah, basically at the very end, it was saying, something about this film is dedicated to the memory and everything of all the people who fought for civil rights throughout the decades. So and it didn't really mention anything about Cecil saying, how long he worked there and when he died and yada yada yada. So that's how I kind of caught on that even though it was based, I knew this was a real dude. Cecil wasn't his actual name. It was Eugene Allen. So just to clarify something for you folks, so you're not as confused as I was. But yeah, so this movie has a whole bunch of well-known actors in it. Obviously, like I said, Forrest Whitaker as Cecil Gaines, David Banner as Earl Gaines, Michael Rainey Jr. Cecil Gaines at the age of 8. Apparently Mariah Carey's in this as somebody named Hattie Pearl. I really didn't catch that character. Just going through here, just taking a look. Oprah Winfrey plays Gloria Gaines, who's I'd have to look at the name of the real life wife of the Eugene guy, but she basically plays the movie equivalent of her. You got Isaac White as Charlie Gaines at 10. David Oyelowo as Louis Gaines. Joe Trest as the White Usher. Coleman Domingo as Freddie Follows. Terrence Howard as Howard. Cuba Gooding Jr. as Carter Wilson. Lenny Kravitz as James Holloway. Robin Williams as Dwight D. Eisenhower. John Cusack as Richard Nixon. Yaya DaCosta as Carol Hammy. James Marsden as John F. Kennedy. Minka Kelly as Jacqueline Kennedy. Elijah Kelly as Charlie Gaines, age 15 to 18. Liev Schreiber as Lyndon B. Johnson. I thought this was interesting. Alan Rickman as Ronald Reagan. And then Jane Fonda as Nancy Reagan. And I think that's pretty much the extent of the well-known actors and important characters in this one. So, like I said, this movie is basically loosely based on the real-life story of the Eugene guy who was, a butler. Excuse me there, folks. And a head butler at and eventually head butler at the White House for 34 years. It basically starts off in his early years in 1926, I believe, in Macon, Georgia. He's working the cotton fields with his dad. Basically, even though slavery was abolished, they're basically slaves, and have no rights whatsoever. And then eventually it moves on to, I think it's 1957. I'd have to check the year that he actually, moves on to him as a young man. He's struggling to survive in a predominantly white ran world in the United States at this time. He breaks into, I guess it's a hotel or something, and ends up getting a job there. Now, again, a lot of what happens in this movie, I'd have to check and see if this actually happened with the real guy that this movie is based on. But in terms of what's happening in the movie, he breaks into this hotel, ends up getting hired by a black employee there, or recommends him for hire. The black employee does not rat him out for breaking in and stealing food. That's why he was breaking in. And eventually he gets noticed by a representative from Washington who recommends him, I guess is in charge actually, and recommends him to the head maitre d' at the White House at the time to be a butler at the White House. And I believe that was about 1957. And then it's basically just showing him through the years of the different presidential regimes that he has been through, or administrations, I guess is the term that they use, that he personally witnessed as a butler at the White House. So it's pretty cool, he works as, you got Eisenhower, played by Robin Williams, I think was phenomenal, in a more serious role than the comedic role, which is what you're used to with him. And then I believe then it goes to the Kennedy, and then of course, because Kennedy was assassinated, it goes to the vice president at that time, which is Johnston, and then moves on to Nixon for 2 terms, and then I kind of feel like they might have skipped somewhere in there. There might be one administration that skipped, because then it goes right to the Reagan administration. But anyways, regardless, it's still pretty cool to see his life through the different progressions of both the country and the different presidents that have come and gone. Mainly, though, the movie is focusing on civil rights and liberties of African Americans at the time of his, during the time of his life, the progression of them, from how limited and almost non-existent they were, to having all the same freedoms and liberties as the white American. So it's a very good film. It's very captivating. It draws you in. Definitely makes you want to see what happens next. And like I said, I don't know how much, of his personal life story is true. Obviously, a lot of what happened with the presidents is true. But yeah, it's just so... Take that to heart that they might have taken some creative liberties with the real guy's story to make this movie. Again, it's still a very captivating watch. You don't even have to be, a fan or be interested in politics or civil liberties and civil rights and stuff like that to find this movie fascinating. It's just, to think that one guy lived through all this in his lifetime as basically a domestic servant, even though he's working at the highest calling that you could, working at the White House, is quite phenomenal, and it's just something really interesting to see. So I highly recommend The Butler. If you've never seen it, give it a watch. I definitely think you'll enjoy it there, folks. As always, feel free to click that thumbs up, leave a like down below. If you feel the need, leave a comment down below in the comment section. And as always, folks, if you enjoy my channel, I greatly appreciate it if you would subscribe, all right? You take care of yourselves, folks, and we'll catch you next week for another episode.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.